Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. Appreciate you joining us. I love doing this show because I get to talk to a wide variety of people, and no big quotes to share today or speeches to give. We'll go straight to my friend, the mayor of the city of Pascagoula, Dr. Jay Willis, Mayor Jay Willis. Someone I really have enjoyed visiting with, and we haven't caught up in a while. So it was interesting during the pre-part of the show before we actually went on to the air. Jay was telling me how much he's enjoying what he's doing, and I feel that. I feel from the day you walked into that door through today, you've had your head on right about what you want to accomplish, and you've tried to go about it in an organized way. And there's a lot of personal satisfaction that comes from achieving goals, isn't there, Mayor?
Thank you for the kind words, Ricky. It absolutely is, and it's just a good feeling to see the progress that Pascagoula is making. Not that it's because of me, but for me to be in the middle of it and to be in a position to influence that, it's very encouraging and something that I am enjoying.
Well, you go back and look at. I looked at the last time we talked, and we went through the strategic plan for the city. But you mean that? I mean, the mayor can only go so far. If you think about the massive employers that are important stakeholders to you, not to mention Ingalls and Chevron and all the supporting companies that are involved there, but so many small businesses, so many big-time investors that are investing in downtown Pascagoula, this incredible revitalization that's taking place there. What a great story that is. You think about the city council and the employees of the administration, and so many others, the citizens and their role and the involvement that they're playing, and the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation. I mean, the list literally goes on and on and on. It takes a lot of people working together to make progress in a city happen, doesn't it?
Well, our friend, Paige Roberts, explained that to me very early on in my tenure as mayor, that it's all about everyone rowing in the same direction. And we have so many groups and individuals on our boat that are doing the rowing. Just like you said, the local business and industry that we are so proud of and have such great relationships with, our legislative delegation, the County Board of Supervisors, the Chamber of Commerce, the Pascagoula Redevelopment Association. Even in Washington, Roger Wicker is a friend. Cindy Hyde-Smith is a friend, and Mike Ezel grew up here, so he is taking good care of Pascagoula. But it's everyone working together.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone recently just about, this applies somewhat to what you just said, but you think about coastal Mississippi as a region. There's like 113 different elected officials and political subdivisions and all these. To do well regionally, you got to be a massive communicator, because like the one person you don't communicate with may be the person that can help move the ball forward. You just mentioned just a few minutes ago, and you heard the litany of folks that I mentioned. But to be an effective mayor, you can't leave anybody out of the loop. Your goal is to build a big tent. Now, look, at the end of the day, some people, you can't build a tent big enough to bring them in. That's just reality. But when you've got a city like Pascagoula that's having tremendous progress, doing so many positive things simultaneously, you've built a pretty good tent, and it's full of a lot of people who support the goal. And you get better decisions that way. You get more support that way. You get better success that way. And, I think, that bodes well. And I can sense that you have a good feeling about where you are.
Well, and in going in that direction, you never know who it is that you may come in contact with that will be that one person that can move that needle for the city, even in the positive direction for a small bit. And it's those little changes, the little things that are happening in the city that make such a difference.
Yeah, it's dynamic, man. It's dynamic. It's been a few months since I've been downtown. I had a baseball, actually, was it a baseball game? It was a baseball game or a soccer game on a field near downtown. And while we were there, Ann and I drove over and just kind of rode through the city real quick, just kind of get a sense of how things are going. But, man, millions of dollars are being spent to revitalize downtown, this historic district that is so extraordinarily well positioned to contribute in so many positive ways. But when you like you go eat at a restaurant or go to a small shop or just go down to see, how is the progress coming along, it's got to make you feel like, man, this is special.
It truly is. My wife's store, Johnson Brothers Jewelry, was the only retail business and one of the few functioning locations for any type of activity downtown from Katrina until just recently. And we couldn't give the property away. No one was interested in being downtown. We had some law offices and other professional types. But within the last few years, with the incentivization of the investment that we have been able to do in downtown, we have seen new retail, we have seen new restaurants. Hotel Whiskey is opening within the next few weeks with a restaurant on the ground floor that has a primary location in Bay St. Louis. We're awfully excited about Uncle Joe's Pizza and so many things. Our revitalization and renovation of the old Hancock Bank building that was PNP Bank building by Shannon and Cynthia Strunk is completed. And they have just amazing living spaces and office spaces in that wonderful old building that truly was sitting vacant for decades. And that's just a small sample of what's going on downtown. We have the best butcher shop anywhere on the coast in downtown Pascagoula. It's amazing. The Blind Butchers are a young couple who decided they were going to be entrepreneurs. And man, they have hit it, and it is doing extremely well.
Well, you think about it. I mean, of course, we've talked about this before, but I think it's so important that the younger people these days, and it's not just for younger people, by the way, because you see a wide range of age of folks who are living downtown now. But younger folks, they want to live, work, and play where they don't have to really go anywhere if they don't have to. They go and come home. They want to be able to walk to a shop. They want to be able to walk for some form of entertainment. They want to walk to go eat. And, there's a vibrancy that comes from that. There's a vibrancy that comes from people being there and walking around the city. I had Joe Cloyd and his wife Jessica on recently to celebrate the Springs opening, the hotel in downtown Ocean Springs, and we talked a bit about the depot. But I mean, you've got this wide variety of entrepreneurs that are investing. I like to say betting the ranch because, I mean, they're taking real money. You mentioned the Strunks. I mean, they're taking real money and they're investing millions in that downtown. And that's what it takes. You got to create an environment that makes them want to be there. But then they sort of feed off each other with all these projects and developments and restaurants and shops it takes, as you pointed out, it takes a few that has to take the risk to start this thing and get this train moving.
And it's almost like a snowball rolling downhill. It just picks up speed and it picks up size. And we are to the point that there are no remaining properties available for development in downtown, and a waiting list for people looking for an opportunity. And of course, we are having significant progress in other parts of the city. The Highway 90 development out in the east part of the city with a wonderful investment with a group out of Chattanooga who saw the potential in Pascagoula and said, we can attract some major retailers. And we've got a new TJ Maxx and an Aldi coming in, Burlington Coats and Rack Room Shoes and Five Below, with a Starbucks and Smoothie King. And I mean, it's just crazy. 20-something million invested on Highway 90 in Pascagoula. And that is just prior to the Nico family breaking ground in the old Ice House property and what they're going to be doing there with the development to the western part of our town. It's truly amazing. And again, it is that snowball that continues to roll and picks up speed and momentum.
Yeah, I really admire Paige Roberts. You mentioned her from the Jackson County Chamber. She's on the show a lot. We talk about a wide variety of things. The role the chamber has played to help kind of bring people together. One of the things she talks a lot about is the role the chamber plays in connecting. You mentioned the Nico family, and you admire her. I love when I talk to Mayor Knight about the role that Paige has played over there and the recovery efforts after the the tornado, but just really in their economic development efforts as they continue to kind of move the ball forward. Hear the same kind of things coming from other parts of Jackson County, but it's great to have a partner like the Jackson County Chamber, like Paige, and so many others that are really saying, okay, what role can I play to help continue to connect people, to bring new people to the area, to make sure we're telling our story the best it can be told so they can see what's happening. And it is, when you're doing that, I mean, it is a snowball that's rolling down the hill, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. Let's do this. I'll let you respond on the other side. We're at the end of the segment with my friend, the mayor of the city of Pascagoula, Jay Willis. We'll see what he has to say to that when we get on the other side. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I love this opportunity I get. Kyle and I have been involved in over 1,100 conversations since we started this show now over 4 years ago. The opportunity to chat with mayors and leaders all along the coast. It's just great. I get to dive into these cities and get to dive into these counties and see what's going on. And one of those we're diving in with today is my friend Jay Willis, who's the mayor of Pascagoula. Hey, we went to the break though. You alluded to the snowballing effect, and I said the same thing as it relates to all these relationships and networks that are developing. I mentioned Paige's role and all of that, but it's really true. I mean, it's just an enormous amount of activity happening on the ground at any given moment, and there are so many different people engaged in it.
And Ricky, I guess it's the success that we're seeing and the great things that are happening in Pascagoula that's allowing so many of these young people who have the ability to be leaders, whether it's in the chamber, whether it's in business and industry, they are stepping forward and taking positions that, and many of them are home raised, but positions that truly make a difference and are going to make a difference in the future of our city. One of them that we're most proud of that I really would hope that your listeners would get to know is a young man named Bo Etheridge. Bo was raised in Pascagoula and went into business and did other things for a long time, all related to the maritime industry, and came back recently as the new director of the Port of Pascagoula and the Pascagoula Port Authority. Many people say, well, gosh, I didn't realize you had a port in Pascagoula. We have one of the largest and most active ports along the Gulf Coast from New Orleans to Tampa. And the deepwater access is just amazing. Bo has come in with a set of goals and plans to turn the Port of Pascagoula into the best and the most active, because we have the port space and we have so many demands for the operations that the port can provide. It's just really encouraging to see local people step up as Bo has, and we couldn't be more proud of Bo and so many others that are showing those type of leadership skills. One other I'd like to mention is our new police chief, Terry Scott. Terry started as a motorcycle patrolman in the city of Pascagoula many years ago and was recently selected as chief. And he has a heart not only for Pascagoula, but for all of its citizens, regardless of where they are in the ladder of society. And he's a great guy.
Yeah, I'll have to have both of them on the show. I look forward to, we'll connect on both of those. I'd love to have them both on. Listen, I do a lot of boating. I have all my life. So I spent a lot of time off of Pascagoula. I mean, I see, man, the activity. If you're talking about the Intercoastal Canal, you're talking about, as you pointed out, deepwater access is incredible. The number of tankers that are going back and forth to Chevron, and it's just a beehive of activity. It's always a beehive of activity. I don't care when or where you're there. It's happening. It's in a big way. I've mentioned this before, but you'll appreciate this. Travis Sweatman and I went to visit. We flew up to Charlotte, North Carolina, and met with a guy named Michael Gallus. Interestingly, many years later, we actually hired Michael to come and work with us on the oil recovery efforts that I led in Alabama, and got to reconnect with him. But one of the things that he did when Travis and I were sitting there, he went up to this map and he looked at where where the Mississippi Gulf Coast was. And the first thing that he did is he said, you have ports, you have rail, you have water access, you have interstate highways nearby. And he started to, he said, okay, look, I don't need to know anything else. You've got the building blocks, and I look at where you are strategically in terms of the rest of the United States. You have the building blocks of amazing things. And so that's the way he looked at it. When he first goes to the map, that's what he wanted to look at. You're on the coast. Do you have ports? Yes, we have ports and blah. And went through this analysis, and I thought, gosh, he kind of like really quickly got to the meat of it all. But that's what you see in Pascagoula as well, isn't it?
It is, and so many communities can only hope for the type of things that we have as natural resources that so many of us take for granted and have been here forever and not been fully utilized. And I really believe that our future is quite bright in that area, and we're awfully proud to be positioned where we are.
Yeah, I know you've been working with the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation on this. You know, I'm still not hearing the kind of movement as it relates to the risk rating 2.0 federal flood insurance program and the impact that it's had on communities like the grandfathering part of that that has on places like Pascagoula. Have you gotten any good news at all that it's the kind of things that need to be under consideration or under consideration?
Our Washington delegation, to a person, all 5 of the congressmen, both senators, have this at the very forefront of their radar. It's on the top of the to-do list when it begins hitting and coming up. We've been working hard through SOS Pascagoula. Mary Martha Henson, the Georgia's assistant at JCEDF, has been spearheading it, and she knows how things work in Washington. I have seen new proposed flood maps for the entire coast that have been prepared by the South Mississippi Planning and Development District over the last, 4 to 6 years it's taken, using all of the newest technology and looking at histories of storm and flooding. And they believe, and I believe, that it's going to be a significant improvement in the flood insurance and flood zone designations that Pascagoula was hit with in 2008 after Katrina, when all of a sudden 95% of our properties were in flood zones.
Yeah, that's incredible. I looked at my situation here. The old flood map, we're not even in a flood zone. Okay, I live on the water, but we're so high, and we built. We actually built a very large chain wall and filled it in, and everything so that we could be on one layer, so nothing's down below. But we had flood insurance anyway. It was very affordable because we weren't in a flood zone. We still had flood insurance. Of course, with risk rating 2.0, what people don't realize, and they have to pay closer attention to this, is that what you see now is you see what your target rate is. It can only go up a certain amount of years. So it's kind of like the frog boiling in the water. It's not. We're not at a boil now, but a few years from now we're going to be at a boil. If you move from your house, you don't get to do the stair step. If you move, it now immediately reverts to what the target rate is. And in places like 95% of downtown Pascagoula being in a flood zone, the way no more grandfathering at all, and the impacts are dramatic, aren't they?
They are, and people sometimes don't realize it, and it's going to be quite an impact as this comes in. The main thing is it's totally unfair to us in Pascagoula, in coastal Mississippi, and we have to have that changed. There's no question.
We got to fix it. And again, people have so much on their minds. It's hard to kind of focus on that. I really appreciate the leadership coming from the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation. They've worked with other states to try to keep this top of mind. The reality is we got so many issues, so many polarizing issues in Washington today, that there are a lot of things, and this is one of them. There's some decent work happening. We don't learn about it, but they're aware of it. You got people like Marco Rubio focused on you all the way up the East Coast. Everybody's thinking about it. Louisiana, Alabama, Texas, because it's affecting all of us. And
well, even New Jersey is taking a seat at the table because of the flooding and hurricanes they've experienced in the last few years.
Yeah,
it's bipartisan and it's across the country.
So, how's life, man? So, when you woke up this morning, what kind of things were on your mind?
Well, I'm just thanking God for another day at the age that I have attained, and life is good. We feel so blessed. My wife and I and 3 daughters and 8 grandchildren. What's on my mind is the 4 grandsons that are playing baseball in the city of Pascagoula baseball leagues, and what that means to our after work, after school activities, keeping us at the ball fields, and we just love it. It's just such an amazing thing, and amazing blessings all the way around. That couldn't be any better.
Yeah, I thank God for that myself. I've got 4 grandkids. One of my grandsons is heavily engaged in baseball. So that's fun. That kind of brings us together. The others are coming along. Soccer's about to start up, and we'll be running the roads for that. But, when you get a chance to follow a grandchild in the recreational league, I mean, you didn't need that to appreciate how important that is to the city, but what the city's doing in that arena is something we can talk about a little bit more later. But we're out of time for the day, Mayor. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you.
So nice talking with you, Ricky. Thank you for asking me to be on.
You bet. You bet. This has been Mayor Jay Willis from Pascagoula. When we come back, we'll have Cynthia Sutton from the Ocean Springs Chamber. We'll see you after this.